Hey guys, today I'm going to talk to you about something that we're not very good at, which is loving ourselves. And what exactly does that look like? So in honor of loving myself, I'm going to sit out here in my bare feet and talk to you guys while I enjoy a little bit of nature. So we'll get to that in just a minute.
With every start, we are born again. Open your heart, spend this time in your head.
So I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to make this video on. I wanted to let you guys know what I ate for the day. I will actually, let me rotate you a little bit. There we go. I'll put that up right over there. I had my steak tartare again because it's easy. It tastes fantastic. I love it. I ended up using 3 yolks instead of 2. And then I had an egg salad. I went ahead and I recorded that as well, just so you guys could see I used 2 whole eggs plus 2 yolks on top of that. I didn't measure any of my coconut oil mayonnaise. I just kind of put it in there. In my recipe, I estimated it's about 1/4 of a cup. It's probably not that much. Everything's kind of an estimation. And then I tried to drink the bedtime tea and I only got about half of it done. I only got about half of it down before I was pretty much done for the day. Plus, of course, my typical 2 coffees in the morning. Nothing changed there. So that was about it for my day. I really am not eating a whole lot of different things. And that kind of goes towards my topic. And that is, what does love look like? Now, we could probably describe exactly what love looks like towards someone else. The love that we show to others, unfortunately, looks different than the love that we show to ourselves. Emily and I had a Zoom meeting with a very special friend who just really wants to build us up and support us. And she gave the most incredible presentation. And I literally took notes the whole time she was talking. Like, on my computer while she's talking, I'm sitting there taking notes. It was so good. And she made me cry several times. And at the end, she said, "Is there anything I can do for you?" And I was like, "You just did it. Can I use this for my video tomorrow?" And she was like, "Absolutely, no problem. I'm so happy to be able to help you." It was absolutely incredible, fantastic information. And she's one of those people who just is okay to be in the background, to be the unspoken, unsung hero supporting others. So thank you, Missy, very much. This is such a blessing, and it just spoke to my heart and was this revelation. And this is what I think people need to hear and understand. So what does love look like? If you're talking about it in regards to your children, your parents, your spouse, your animals, one overriding theme is that we sacrifice. There's 5 different forms of love, and one of those is called agape love. And this is like the purest, almost hardest to attain, because it's self-sacrificing and it's true. It's down to your very marrow. And we choose to do this, and it's not self-serving, it's patient and kind, does not keep a record of wrongs. And we strive to do that with the other people in our lives, but we don't do it with ourselves. We remember every time we screwed up. We remember every time we let ourselves or someone else that we love down. Every time that we sneak that one extra little bite of something, we keep a record of that. internally, and it doesn't serve us. So a couple of things that I want to bring forward into the light, because when we keep these things secret and we hide them, it's a lot easier to ignore them and not address them. So I want to do that right now. I want to bring this forward into the light. I want to talk about this. I want to confront this. For all of us who are struggling to love ourselves enough to do what is right for ourselves. It's so much easier to do it for our kids, for our spouses. No, you may not have 2 pieces of cake, and it is bedtime, time to go to bed. We can lay these boundaries down for our children and for our animals. No, you may not run in the street and play, but we don't do them for ourselves. And I honestly believe it's because we do not love ourselves in a true enough way. So what does love look like? What does self-love look like? I believe that it needs to be non-negotiable. We need to commit to loving ourselves as much as we show love to others, because we too are worth it. We really are. We are amazing beings. We are amazing people. Look at all that we've been through. We may have a lot to overcome, but look what we have overcome. Love needs to be non-negotiable. Self-love needs to be non-negotiable. I think that is the foundation for everything that we need moving forward. We need to love ourselves enough to set boundaries for ourselves and stick to those boundaries, knowing that it is for our good because we truly love ourselves enough. Another part of this, I think we need to start believing that we are trustworthy. So many people reach out to me and they say, how much protein should I eat? How much fat should I be eating? What should I be doing? I don't know. What do you think you should be doing? Well, I really wanted some more protein, but my numbers say this, so I didn't go over it. How do you feel today? Crappy. Horrible. Maybe that's because you didn't listen to your body. Maybe that's because you didn't believe in your own knowing, your own understanding, your own intuition. You didn't trust it enough to listen. I truly believe that our bodies are beginning to try to tell us things. If it's telling you it needs a piece of cake, that's probably not accurate. But I think you really can tell the difference between a craving and a need. Understanding that you can be trustworthy is something that we don't do. We're not taught to trust ourselves. We're taught to trust the guidelines that have been put down for us by someone else. If there's anything that I hope you guys have learned by this point in time, it's that we are all individuals. We are all very different, and we have all gone through so many different things in life. Nobody, no scientist, no doctor, no coach can tell you what is going to fix all of your problems. They can tell you what helped them, what maybe has helped many, many of their patients, but there is no guarantee that it is going to work for you. You have to be the one that is willing to put forth the work and try the experiments and see how you do. That is where you need to trust yourself. I've had enough fat for today, but I'm supposed to have this many grams, and if I don't, then I'm not getting enough. So you eat some more fat bombs, and what happens? You spend the next 30 minutes trying not to throw up or racing to the bathroom every 15 seconds. Your body was telling you it was done, but we don't trust it. It's time to realize that you can be trustworthy. So here's some tips for helping you attain this self-love and ways for you to begin to treat yourself better. I want to set you up for success with these tools so that it kind of takes the guesswork out of it and you adapt them to your life in the way that you need for your individual circumstance. So number one, I think is pretty safe for most people to adapt. Don't have seconds. If you're going to go to an event, if you're even just at home and you're going to indulge in something, some way, have one, don't have seconds. You don't want the consequences that are going to come with that second serving. Putting that boundary in place for yourself can be the difference between falling out of ketosis or staying in ketosis. Can be the difference between making yourself physically ill and being okay. If you choose to indulge in something, you get to make that choice. Do not be afraid of the condemnation that you're going to receive from anyone else. You are an adult. You get to choose that. But you could also choose to just have one. Do not have seconds. So that's the first one. Next would be to have a love affair with fat. And that seems so silly to have to say that, especially with the Dr. Boz stuff that's been going on. But our entire lives, we've been told to fear fat and stay away from it. And our mental well-being, our physical well-being, our hormonal balances have been so messed up because of that. That to this day, still, I personally will go, I probably shouldn't have any more because I'm looking at my macros and I know what it looks like, so I shouldn't have any more. Although my body is telling me I really need some more. Back to being trustworthy. You need to have a love affair with fat. You want to think that it's off limits, out of range? Fine. That's what you need to do. Flip your thinking so that you begin to crave and desire and love what is going to nourish you and heal your body. Bring your mind back like it used to be to help you think clearly again. Calm down your hormones so that your reactions aren't all over the place. We have to get back to fueling ourselves properly and feeding our hormones. Some tips and tricks that can be taken from a 12-step program. One of the ones that really kind of hit the truest, don't let yourself get hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Because when we do that, when those things happen to us, we are much more likely to stress eat. We are much more likely to go back for that second serving. So if we can plan and we can be prepared and do what we can to avoid as much of that as possible, we're setting ourselves up for success. Being ready with some kind of food. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Reaching out to your tribe, to your community when you're feeling lonely. Because I know for some people, I live out in the middle of nowhere and I have my children and I have my husband and I have my dogs, but my friends are all online. My closest girlfriends are all through my phone. I have one that lives close. I'm very blessed to have one that lives locally, but I also don't see her very often. So reach out to your people for support, for encouragement. That will help you so that you don't become lonely, tired, going to bed on time. There's a lot to the sleep thing. There's a lot to how important it is and really great ways to get better sleep. That's why I'm sitting out here with my bare feet in the sandy dirt in between the blades of grass, trying to get as much exposure to nature as I can because it really does make a difference in my sleep. But working on that, working towards that is the goal. And then trying not to get angry. That will come with time and with practice and with healing of your brain and your hormones. But trying to set yourself up for success needs to be the priority. For some people, one of the things that makes us angry could be how many things we've had to give up in our diet. Yes, I'm a carnivore because I have to be. I know a lot of people have felt that way. I have felt that way. I would eat a salad and some Rebel ice cream right now if I could. But my body has said no. And it's just the way it is. And I could get angry about it. I could be mad about it. I could get bitter about it. But I choose not to. Because I see my eating different. The way that I choose to view my food is I've transitioned over to seeing it as therapeutic eating. When you've gone through something traumatic in your life, it's recommended that you go to therapy, that you get the support that you need and the coping skills to learn how to overcome the trauma that has happened in whatever form it is, physical, mental. That includes our eating. We have had our whole life of eating junk food and processed foods that have assaulted us and hurt us and caused many, many problems for us. And sometimes it's more than just the food. It's the medications and the environment and the chemicals. That has been our trauma. And when you transition over to looking at it and seeing it as therapeutic eating, it makes it easier to handle and easier to accept, because what I eat now nourishes my body. Y'all saw I don't eat a whole lot. I meet my macros every day. I'm eating enough calories until I am full or satiated, but it's not fancy. It's nothing spectacular. I'm really not creating a whole lot of recipes anymore because I've transitioned over to therapeutic eating. I am eating this way to get better so that someday I can go enjoy that big salad and Rebel ice cream again. That is my goal. And I believe that one day I will heal enough to be able to eat what I want to eat again. So that is one way to keep yourself from getting angry about the way that we have to eat. Another tip would be to use food and drink, those substances, the way that they were designed. Food was never meant to be a medication. Drink was never meant to be a medication. They should not be used to numb your pain and take you away from what we're going through. Therapy, friends, community, those need to be what you fall back on. Not on foods, not on sweets, and not on alcohol, not on drinks. Replacing those things with people and a support structure is what can help you begin to use food and drink appropriately and not as a coping mechanism. This one is probably one of the hardest things to do, and it's fairly broad, and it could mean a lot of different things. And I honestly believe that it should mean a lot of different things, because for a lot of different people, their mess is going to be different than another person's. Let the mess go. Let it go. Stop holding on to it and keeping it inside of you. Whether it is you keeping track of all the things that you've done wrong, or if it's keeping track of all of the things that you didn't get done, or if it's all of the things that you forgot. Let it go. I'm giving you permission right now to show yourself grace and kindness, because we do that with other people that we love. We forgive them when they aren't being intentionally harmful to us and really trying to hurt us. We forgive them. That's what we need to do with ourselves too. Let the mess go. Do what you can do peacefully and lovingly. We're not going to be able to do everything that we want. There's always going to be something that we are going to forget or not have time for or not have the ability to do. So what we can do, we need to do peacefully and lovingly. Not only lovingly for other people in our lives, but for ourselves too. So think about it this way. If I stress myself out throughout the day, trying to get everything done, and I get to the dinner table angry, I've made some bad choices for the day. And this kind of goes back to keeping yourself calmer. If you're calmer, you're less likely to stress eat. So setting yourself up for success by doing what you can do peacefully, calmly, and lovingly will help to boost your morale. Don't set the bar so high. Just reach each little individual milestone. In my great room, there is a counter and there is a pool table. Neither one of those surfaces are ever clean. Ever. They always are catch-alls. They catch absolutely everything. The other day, after the workshop was over and I was fairly stressed and exhausted, I took a day where I did only what I wanted. And that was to very, very calmly, slowly, and quietly work on that area. I ended up taking about 3 hours of very slowly walking back and forth, listening to a podcast while I was doing it. Very intentionally and calmly cleaned up those 2 areas. My mood has been fantastic ever since. Something so simple you would think I shouldn't clean anything. I should sit down and do nothing. But I needed to get that space decluttered and cleared out because that was actually stressing me out more than the lack of rest. So I very calmly and peacefully cleaned up that area, and it has drastically improved my mood because it's something that I was able to accomplish one little step at a time. And now it looks fantastic. Who knows how long it's going to last, but I know that I can do it again, peacefully and lovingly. That kind of leads me into the next one. Pursuing beauty and order. Our lives can be pretty chaotic, and sometimes we need to try to control and bring into order the areas in which we can. There's a lot going on that we can't control, but I could control what was on that pool table, and I chose to attack it very peacefully and lovingly. But I brought that area of the room into order, and it spilled out into other areas in the room as well. And before I knew it, I had cleaned the entire room. Everything was organized. I had swept, and things were where they belonged. I brought order from chaos, and that helped to calm my spirit down. So we need to find ways of doing that, helping to improve the order in other ways in our lives. Little areas that can be cleaned up, making sure that you are stocked up so that when you run out of shampoo, you don't have to go to the store and stress out and did they have it, did they not? If you have an extra bottle, it's done. You're ready. You run out and you go, oh, here it is. It's right here. Things like that where you can make it a little bit easier on yourself would be wonderful ways to help you bring order into your life. Sometimes it's good for us to splurge on ourselves, for our hair care, for our makeup, some clothes, for taking our luxurious Epsom salt bubble baths. Splurging on yourself focuses on the beauty. What makes you feel good? If you feel better wearing makeup, put your makeup on, even if no one else sees it. Because sometimes you just feel better if you put your makeup on. Sometimes it's okay to dress up. You want to put on your best pants? Do it. Because you're worth it too. You can get dressed up just for yourself. Because you're worth it too. If it makes you feel good about yourself, then do it. Now, this one is going to also be open to interpretation. I'm a Christian, and so I see God as my Heavenly Father. I know that that's not the case for everybody. So this, I would encourage you to adapt to whatever you see as your ultimate higher up. I like to use my way of eating as my prayer because when I see it as doing it for God, it makes me want to do it even better. When in reality, it's serving me as well. Because putting those boundaries in place and then following those boundaries shows the respect that I have for myself. But using it as my prayer helps me to keep focused on why I'm doing this, why this is therapeutic eating. It's to help me heal, to help me get better. So when I stick to it and I don't fall off my plan, it serves me. And that, I think, is one of the biggest goals, is to make sure that when we do these things, we realize what it's doing for us, that it is serving us. Because something can taste sweet, and we'd get a little bit of an endorphin or a dopamine spike because of said food, but that's not going to last for very long. When I eat my steak tartare with egg yolks, that is nourishing my body. It's what I crave and I want to eat almost all the time now. Every single day, it's almost always the same thing. But that's because it is serving me and it is making me well again. And I use it as my prayer. And that kind of leads me into the next statement. So the way that you show yourself love with your diet is going to look different than other people and the way that they do it. Not everyone can have seed oils and still love, but some can. I can't. I cannot be the best that I can be for my family, let alone for myself, if I have certain seed oils. So I have to abstain from them for that. But there are people who can. There are people who can have plants and be fine. There are people who can have dairy and be fine. There are people who can have eggs and be fine and still love appropriately, love themselves and others appropriately. Do not judge what you can do by what other people can or should do. This is you. This is for you, by you. This involves no one else. And you being honest about what you do and don't need and what you can and cannot handle will help bring your self-love closer to the surface. So earlier I said that I would tell you a trick for keeping yourself from getting hungry. Have an emergency platter. On this emergency platter is going to be cold cuts, deli meats, the not so great stuff, maybe some Spam, cheese, olives, pickles, anything that you can handle, even if it's not perfect. We are never going for perfection here. We're going for progress, because even though I will be a little bit affected by some pepperoni, it would be better for me to eat the pepperoni and gain a couple of pounds of inflammation than for me to not eat anything, get hungry, get angry, and then lash out. Finding your emergency platter, whatever you need to put on it, so that in those times of emergency situations, something isn't ready, it's in the freezer. You can pull it out, take it with you, and eat on the go if need be. Have something prepared for yourself that's very easy to grab, whether it's lap steak or hard-boiled eggs, but always have it there in the background for yourself. We always make sure that everyone else in the family has the food that they want. Sometimes we need to provide the food that we need. One thing that we need to really realize, the clouds are there, like it or not. But what are you focused on? On the clouds or what's behind the clouds? I choose to focus on what's behind the clouds. I don't focus on the darkness, on the struggle. I choose to focus on what's behind, the light that is shining out from behind the clouds, and what I know I will gain once I get past them. It's going to take as long as it's going to take. My body will heal when my body heals. Nothing that I do is going to cause it to go any faster than it's already capable of doing. I could absolutely slow down the process by eating junk, by eating things that do not bring my love forward. That will slow down my progress from clearing away those clouds to being able to see the wonderful beauty behind them. So I choose to focus beyond the clouds, because I know that there is a light at the end of this tunnel, and I believe that I will get there. And it's obscured, it's behind the clouds. I don't actually know what it looks like. It may be the exact same form of eating that I'm doing now. But you know what? I'm okay with that, because if it brings my self-love further forward, then it's absolutely worth it. But I want you to keep one thing in mind. Everybody looks good in public. We all break down in intimacy, in private. All of us. We always put our best face forward when we go out. It's when we're alone and we're vulnerable and we're quiet that we break down. And that's the time when we need the most support from our tribe, from our people. Because some things are better handled with friends, not alone. Reach out to the people who you trust to lift you up. And you may think you're being a burden, but you're not. Giving others the chance to bless you blesses them in return. Being vulnerable with the people that you know that you can trust rewards them and tells them that they are trustworthy. And that is uplifting, and it supports other people. So when we can be vulnerable, it actually helps them to not only love us, but to love themselves even more. Because when they help us, they're proud of themselves. They're proud of what they were able to do. We need to let people love on us and support us. That is one of the hardest things to do, because we always want to be strong and we want to do it all for ourselves, and I can handle it, it's fine. And then when we get into the dark and the quiet and the night, we cry silently because it's just too much. It's overwhelming. Let your people love on you. Let them build you up. In doing so, you will be building them up as well. So I want to encourage every single person who listens to this video. I want you to be sassy, and I want you to be beautiful, and I want you to be authentic. Whether you are a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. I want you to be who you are meant to be, who you really are. I want you to respect that other people are going to be who they're going to be. Let them worry about them. You worry about you. Work on building your character and your self-love, because that is where I think this is all really rooted and where it's really all coming from. That is what this is all about. We're eating this way so that we can get healthy, so that we can get better. The way that we eat could be viewed as a very selfish thing. But I say good job to take care of yourself and do what you need. I encourage you to keep going, do what you need, but implement these steps to take it to the next level. Take it a step further. I've gone on plenty long enough. I'm going to let you guys get back to your day. I hope that this encourages you. I hope that if you need a tribe, you check out my Mighty Network, the VIPs. We have a small and intimate group where we can cry and share with one another our struggles, and there's absolutely no judgment. I go a little mama bear on anyone who brings out the judgment in my groups. But I want to encourage you guys, don't suffer alone, and see yourself as worthy, and begin working on your self-love, because you're worth it. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for stopping in. I'll see you on the way. So in the, what's the word? Oh shoot. In nature, this was, oh my gosh, it was just amazing. Anyways, is I believe we need to start, and bring your mind back to its and now there's a plane. I'm gonna wait a minute. Hello. That should be plenty. 42 minutes.